Yeah. What it is, what it do. Welcome to another episode of T3MU TV. It's your host, Nero. You know when you see my face, I got a special guest. I got a legend in the building. She's doing her thing, a professional photographer, Annette Grant. How's it going?
Going good. How you doing?
Good, and you?
Good. Thanks for coming over.
Thank you for letting me in and, taking some photos of me early. I appreciate that.
No problem. You got that.
Yeah, so was you born and raised in Boston?
Yep, I was born in Boston.
Okay.
Grew up in the South End,
Mm-hmm.
Prudential Center, Symphony Hall,
Mm-hmm.
Christian Science. That area there.
You was around the good stuff, the mall,
Well,
potential.
so that wasn't there.
Oh, really?
No, that's some new builds.
Yeah, okay.
When I grew up, that wasn't there.
Oh,
Our
wow.
highlight as kids over there was the fountain, the water fountain.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
and it's no longer there no more.
Oh, still there?
Okay.
Kids still frolicking in the summertime.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's still
That's
there.
what's up.
It's still there. Yeah, but there was none of that.
Mhm.
When we wanted to do stuff, we would venture to the hood.
Okay. Okay.
We take the bus, the number 1 down Mass
Yep.
Ave to Roxbury.
Mhm.
Go all up in Orchard Park where we ain't supposed to be. That
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, it's always fun in the neighborhood, but I ain't never been on that side. I'm not a Roxbury. I stick to my side, Dorchester.
I know. It's a tough thing for me because I'm kind of more Dorchester now than where I grew up in that Roxbury side. But I don't really have to claim either because I was kind of in the South End, so I
Yep.
could kind of go.
You can kind of go both ways.
I was closer to Roxbury, but I don't have to claim either one. So I try to stay neutral.
Okay. As long as you still love Dorchester, that's all that matters.
I love Boston.
Okay.
I love everybody.
What were some of your hobbies growing up?
So the funny thing is, when I was 13 is when I actually got my first camera.
Wow.
Yeah,
okay.
I was 13 years old when I got my first camera, and it was just such a natural thing for me at that age that I carried it literally everywhere. So I had more pictures of people's family than they did because I just always had this camera.
Wow.
So that was really my hobby. I did it for fun. But growing up in that era, 80s, 90s, that wasn't really considered a career. So it's like, yeah, that's cute, you having fun, but you got to go to school, you got to be an accountant, a doctor, a lawyer, a teacher, those kinds of things.
This has to be like a hobby, like
This has to be a hobby. You can do that for fun, but that's not where you're going to make your money.
Right.
And so it was literally a hobby at that time. And I did it for years and years and years. But then as you get older, you kind of set hobbies aside because real life starts to kick in and you have to figure out what you're going to do with yourself. So that was my hobby, actually.
Oh, I didn't even know that. When I wrote this question down, I was thinking like you was gonna say something else. I thought you picked up like pictures maybe in college or something.
No.
Okay.
So the thing with that is that it wasn't until I think I must have been about mid-20s or so where I took a graphics kind of class for work.
Okay.
And one of the segments was photography, and it kind of just clicked something. And
Back to when you was 13 and got that first
I
camera.
really love this. And then I started to kind of think about when I was younger. And so I didn't necessarily start on the path at that point to be a photographer, but I just remembered how much I loved doing it.
Okay.
And that kind of reignited that flame of something that I had when I was much smaller.
Okay.
Yeah.
So did you play any sports growing up?
Okay, so here's the sports story.
Okay. We getting a sports story.
I was a Metco kid.
Okay.
I was a latchkey kid. So my mother worked full time. So all she was concerned about was us getting on that bus and getting home. She didn't encourage sports, right?
Okay.
So in high school, ninth grade, I knew that I loved basketball.
Okay.
Right? I loved the sport.
Yes.
Never got pushed to play, never got encouraged to play. So it wasn't until my senior year of high school I was like, you know what? I'm going to go out for basketball. Mind you, never played. Organized, nothing.
Organized, but you played around?
Nope, nothing.
Wow.
Never played, just
But you
watched.
just loved the game.
I just loved it.
What was your favorite team, if you don't mind me asking?
So, the Bulls.
Okay.
Chicago Bulls.
Jordan.
Chicago Bulls.
Okay.
UNC, UNC right to Chicago, yeah. So that was I still love the light blue, can't front.
Yep.
Hate Duke.
North Carolina, I'm always going for them.
Duke, that hate for Duke will never change.
Never.
It's always gonna be there.
I feel you.
But yeah, I love the Chicago Bulls at that. That was a really cool era for basketball.
Yes,
that
it was.
Team, I tried out as a senior, made it through the first round. Second round got cut.
Oh man,
Got cut.
really?
Well, think about it. I'm a senior.
I thought we was gonna get
I got
the Cinderella story.
I got the Michael Jordan story. I got cut.
But it was your senior year, so
it was my senior year. So what are they gonna do with the senior playing on the JV or just trying to learn? You can't do anything at that point. Those kids are balling, right?
Yep.
Varsity. So at the time, of course, I was like, this is kind of devastating because, but that was kind of the end of the pursuit for me of basketball from that perspective.
Okay.
Still loved it, still watched it,
Yep.
Still enjoyed the game, but never got the opportunity to play.
Wow.
Yeah. Still barely got a jump shot, but
at least you got something.
I got Gregory.
Yeah, he gonna teach you something. So did you attend college?
Yeah, so I went to I was a Metco kid, so I went to the Newton public school system from 1st to 12th grade.
Okay.
I wasn't really a learner, and so I didn't necessarily want to do college. But I had to. My mother's like, you got to do something. So I went to right from Newton North High School. I went to Aquinas College, which was in Newton. It was a community college, 2-year school. Yep. So I did that, and I got the associate's degree there just to get something to satisfy my mother. Yes. Really, and then from there, like the next year, I went to Long Island University in Brooklyn. But there's a little story behind that.
Wow.
So I went there because I had a best friend. So she wasn't a lot like me. She was, let's just say she was out there.
Yes.
Okay.
She was more outgoing.
She was more outgoing in a lot of ways.
Yes.
And so she kind of encouraged me. She's like, we should go to New York, all the record labels, blah, 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 blah. So I went to Long Island University for a year. And the reason it was only a year is because I interned for that year at Def Jam Records.
Wow.
Yeah, this was the era where Puffy was just establishing
Biggie
and Craig Mack. Like he just first came out, and then Total came after that. So this was like the era. Redman.
You was in the office?
I was in there. I got pictures. I was in there.
What?
But what happened was we weren't going to school.
Oh.
We were going to Def Jam.
I mean,
we were interning, so we were at.
You chose the intern over the class
over the schooling. Yep. So I did do a year of school, but I got kind of mediocre grades, and my mother was like, "I'm not paying for mediocre, so you got to come home." But so I never pursued. I never got a bachelor's. I have an associate's, and I got 1 year at LIU, and then I got college courses here and there, but never fully finished the bachelor's. Which is like I'm a creative, and so like that kind of study for me was just not my route, and I would never discourage anybody from doing it. It just wasn't the route for me.
Yes,
and so the year that I did there was great, but not because I got this like amazing education.
It's because you was an intern at Def Jam. That's crazy. I would have never known.
Yeah.
I would have never known.
I'll show you some pictures.
Yes, you definitely got it, because Biggie is my all-time favorite rapper. Like,
cool guy.
Yep. So definitely. So what did you major in while you was there, though?
So I majored in business with a concentration in accounting.
Okay.
Yeah, because those are like the safeties, right? You can do business in anything. Numbers will come up with anywhere. You need that anyway.
Yep.
So it's a major in business, minor in accounting.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, so I'm pretty good with numbers.
Yeah,
I'm pretty business savvy.
Yeah,
I did get something out of it.
Yeah, you did,
but I just never got the paper.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, you picked the right major. When I went, I picked sports management, and it didn't work. So
it could. It's all about the hustle and grind.
Facts.
I always tell people, the only way that you don't succeed is if you quit.
True.
So if you keep pushing, you keep pursuing, you'll get there. It might take you a little bit longer.
Yeah.
But you'll get there.
Yeah. I needed to hear that.
Yep.
So what made you want to become a professional photographer?
So like I said, it never was a pursuit for me because I never saw it as an opportunity to actually find success financially. I knew that it was great, that people loved it. I knew people, enjoy seeing themselves. And, I loved taking pictures just because I love framing and that kind of thing. But it was after I got married and Gregory G, who people hear a lot about.
Yes.
You probably should get him on here.
I've told him, but he's being humble.
Because his effect on people when it comes to life, you know what I mean, is it's an amazing thing. It really helps you to think about what you're doing and where you're going and what your life really means for you.
Yes.
You know what I mean? So he was the one. I would have never pursued it if not for Gregory.
Wow.
He was
Shout out
like,
to Greg for that.
for real. He was like, listen, if this is something that you want, I support you. Like, go to school, get the camera, and figure it out. Like, but if you want to do it, you have to do it. You can't kind of be back and forth. It's not this lukewarm kind of thing. You're either going to do it or you're not going to do it.
Yeah.
So what are you going to do? And so it was that he actually, before we got married, one of his gifts to me was this little Canon point and shoot little camera.
Wow.
Just because I had spoken to him about it and he knew it was something that I enjoyed. I didn't have a camera at the time. And so he got me this little point and shoot camera. With that little point and shoot camera, we went to the Dorchester YMCA when they had a league, right?
Okay.
Kids league.
Was it Junior Celtics?
I don't know if they called it Junior Celtics at the time.
Or maybe it was just
It was a league.
Okay.
It was a league. It could have been Junior Celtics. I have to look at the pictures and see, but very possibly Junior Celtics.
Because I remember you taking pictures for Junior Celtics.
Yeah. So I had that little tiny, little point and shoot Canon silver short shot something. And I did picture packages for the kids, for the parents of that league. I remember. It must have had, I don't know, 30 kids, maybe 40 kids. So I brought them in the little conference room up front and I took a little picture and people came in and they signed their name. And I had my nephew there. The hilarious thing about my nephew, Devontae, he was looking at me with such pity. He was like, oh, so this is just not going to work. I'm so sorry.
Really?
Auntie. But by the end of that day, after people had come in and purchased, I had made almost $900.
Wow.
Right? And so with that, I bought my first DSLR camera. I used that money and I flipped it right away into a real camera. And so that was my first photography gig,
Yeah.
And if I look back now, the pictures were terrible.
But I mean, that's when you first started out, kind of.
Yeah, it was my first gig.
Yeah.
It was just a hookup kind of thing. Hey, can Annette come in and take some pictures of the kids and sell it to the parents, and we'll give you a little hit back on however much she makes. I think we gave the Y 10% of the earnings or something like that, just as a thank you. But that was the first gig. And once I saw what I could do with that, it was like, then it clicked for me. It clicked for Gregory a long time ago. But then it clicked for me. It was like, oh, okay, I can do something with this.
Was it something like maybe when y'all first started dating that you was talking about? You sometimes share with your partner, what you're passionate about, what you like to do.
Yeah.
So it kind of showed that he was listening.
He's always listening.
That's great.
Gregory's always listening.
Gregory
can tell you what you said on October 14th, 2007.
That's great.
And tell you where you were when you said it. That's just his mind.
Yeah.
But yeah, he pays attention. He definitely pays attention. And so he's been encouraging from the beginning. And still is to this day. He still pushes me to this day.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's good. So how long you've been doing this business?
So unofficially, I would say since about 2009. More officially about 2014. So I was kind of bouncing around trying to figure things out between 2009, 2015.
Okay.
And things were, increasing. People were asking for portraits and that kind of thing. But it was I still wasn't sure.
Yeah.
So I was just trying to feel it out and see which way it would go. But 2015 was where I just kind of made the decision with the help of Gregory, of G. It's just go to school. So in 2015, I went to New England School of Photography.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, which used to be in the Kenmore Square. Fenway Park area.
Okay.
It was property owned by Boston University. Had been around for a very long time, about 30, 40 years maybe, when I went there. And so I went in 2015 full time. By that time I had 2 kids.
Yes.
So I was in school full time, taking care of these little kids. Gregory was working full time. And this dude decides he wants to go back to school also.
Yeah.
So I'm in school. He's working full time and going to school at night, getting a double master's. So our house was chaos for 2 years. It was chaos. But I pursued it, I really went full fledged. It was hard. It was really, really tough. The balance of life and doing school, because the school doesn't care that you got kids and you got family and you got they just know that this is the assignment that needs to be done. If you're going to do this, this is what needs to happen.
True.
And so it was a really tough 2 years. I quit multiple times. In my mind.
Yes.
Like I was like, I'm so done. I'm not doing this. This is crazy. Can't do it. But I did it, and I was able to get my professional certification in 2017 from New England School of Photography. Very reputable school in the nation that's known to push out a lot of really great photographers in all different areas.
Wow.
Yeah. So I did that in 2015. And that's when I kind of saw myself as more of a professional. It's like, okay, now I got papers behind my name, so I can call myself a professional and really be professional. And I think doing that kind of catapulted my career because what my husband said to me all the time is like, you should go because you don't know what you don't know.
That's true.
And so being in that environment and just learning and understanding how to work your camera, how to frame a shot, like the things that are important and not important and those kinds of things. Like those things were valuable in the pursuit. It was valuable to figure those things out. And once I got that confidence because I had that knowledge, it was easier to call myself a professional at that point. Yeah. Yep.
Okay, so what are some steps it takes to become a good photographer like yourself?
Steps. I think the first step is loving what you do. If you don't love it, you're not going to pursue it with everything. And if you're not going to pursue it with everything, then why do it? So the first key is to really love what you do. Once you have that desire to do it, then all of the other stuff kind of falls into place. There's a lot of people who take pictures but don't really know the functions of the camera. One of the things that one of my professors always said is just read the manual. So you know how to use
when you get the camera.
I never did it. I'm just saying that's what he said. But I understand the importance of that. It's because what he's saying is that this camera can do a lot more than what you're capable of, But once you have the knowledge to know the equipment, then you can take it that much further. You can get, that much more out of this purchase, and it does create a better picture. And so that's the first thing is to love what you're doing. Second is to know your equipment. I don't care what kind of camera you have.
Yeah.
What you have, you can do a whole lot with if you know how to use it. Like I see a lot of people who start out and they're like, oh, I just need a better camera. Not necessarily. Not necessarily. You just need to know what to do with what you have. And then once you have that, then look to move up. But it's not always about how much the camera costs. It's do you know how to use it?
Yes.
And so that's the second thing is knowing and understanding the equipment. And then from there people can say all kinds of things, different things, but it really comes down to how much you love it and how much you know about your equipment.
No, I see because, when we was doing our little photo thing, you was recognizing things that I recognize after I take the picture.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? You was on it. Like, know, it's almost like a basketball coach telling you like, oh no, fix your feet. Oh no. Fix your wrist on the free throws. It was just like that. So I was just like, oh.
And that comes over time. After taking pictures for a long time, you kind of just see, how people move and what works best in the picture because you've done it so much.
Yes.
So it's just more of that than like I don't have this kind of like amazing kind of skill or something. It's just learning over time.
It's hard work.
It's hard work.
Yes.
It is. It's a grind.
We ain't gonna leave that out. You're working hard.
It's hard work. I'm tired right now.
So do you have a team or do you work alone?
I work alone for the most part. The only time I have a team is if I'm doing like a portrait session where there's multiple. Usually that's with like a basketball league or football, Pop Warner, where I'm doing portraits for families.
Okay.
In that instance, I can only focus on taking the picture. I need somebody to be answering questions. Gregory's like my hustle guy, like he'll up the sales.
Okay.
There's somebody on the register, there's somebody running around doing all those little so in those instances I come with a staff. But when I'm just doing a portrait session, it's just me.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So do you have a social media for clients to book you?
I have a website.
Okay, a website. A website's good. It's better because you can also put your work up there. You can put like if you have merch, you can also put merch up there. So that's
I
good.
use right now my IG page is really geared towards basketball.
Okay.
Because that's just how things went, you know. So a lot of my basketball photography, majority of it is on my IG page, but there's also a link to my website underneath the bio section where you can click and you can see portraits and different types of work, and then that's where you could look to book, you know. But I'm so like hands-on that even with those things, it's best. My phone number is everywhere at this point. Like just call or text me, you know, and we'll figure it out from there.
So yeah, so was it so you basically told me it wasn't rough for you when it started out, but it was a process, right? You would say?
I won't say it wasn't rough. I don't, and it wasn't negative. You know what I mean? It was a hard pursuit, and majority of the toughness of it was my own mind, you know, because we're in an era in a world of instant gratification, right? And so if you don't see the fruits of your labor immediately,
I get you.
it's easy to set it aside and find something else to do that's going to be lucrative instantly, like a 9 to 5.
Exactly.
Right. So I had to get my own mind wrapped around the fact that I'm going to do this and I'm going to be successful. And once I had the ability to do that in my mind, it was okay that it was rough.
Yeah.
You know, because I knew what the end result would be. And my thing was, I'm not stopping until I get that end result.
Yes.
You know, and so it was this is not an overnight success. You know, in my mind, I still have a ways to go to be successful.
Yep.
I'm happy with where I am, but I know I can go further.
Yeah.
But none of it was like quick, you know. And I think if we could really get people to understand that you can do absolutely anything that you want to do, as long as you're willing to put in the work.
Yes.
Like everything is not a scratch ticket, a lottery ticket. You know, everything is not this. You know, you have an idea, and a year later, it's in full bloom. It might work sometimes that way for people, but most of the time it just doesn't. You know, and so if you can get your mind wrapped around the fact that this is a marathon,
yes,
and it's not, you know, a sprint.
Yes.
If you can do that for yourself, then you'll recognize that it's okay that it's tough. Like it's all right. You'll get there. You know, stop looking at everybody else's success because you don't know what it took for them to get there.
Facts.
You know, don't look at that. Focus on you and what your next steps are, and continuously pursue that, and you'll be good. So yeah,
I feel like you talking to me. I mean, we're having an interview, but I feel like this is all for me because like it's me starting this podcast has been rough. You know, I started it with two other friends, you know, that I grew up with, and now it turned into us splitting and no longer like being friends no more.
Oh man.
You know, so but my passion is keeping me going, you know, to keep me pushing. Like normally the old Dean would have quit.
Yeah.
You know, and I would have just been like soaking in my misery, but I've been pushing and just keep knocking down that wall. And you know, to hear you say the words you've been saying, it's just encouraging for me.
Yeah.
You know,
and hopefully for others, because we all have those things that are within us. We all have a purpose at the end of the day. It's something that you just naturally gravitate to, you know, but you don't see it as work.
Yes.
You know, you just see that this is just who I am kind of thing. That thing could be the thing that is what you were created for, like what your purpose is. You know what I mean? But you have to figure out how that works in a way that you can monetize on it. You know, and everything is not about being a millionaire necessarily. You know, that's great, and it would be great. But what is your purpose? You know, like what will you create? What are those natural things within you that you can do to just be happy?
Yes.
You know, those natural things that who you are will make you happy. The money will not make you happy.
It won't.
You know, it just won't. But if you're waking up every day doing something that you love, you're never going to work a day in your life.
Exactly. And that's exactly what I'm trying to do here with this podcast.
Yeah,
like,
just keep pushing. Just keep pushing.
It's a tough process learning everything, you know, because I was strictly basketball growing up. Like,
but is it worth it if it's not hard?
True. That's what I try to tell myself. Like, if it's not hard, would you really be trying?
Are you really going to appreciate it once you get there?
Exactly.
Are you going to be able to tell somebody else your story once you get there if you don't really have a story? You know?
That's true.
All of those things matter.
Yes.
You know, they're important. Not just for you and what you do, but for the person that you encourage behind you.
Yes. So how long did it take for things to pick up?
Uh, it's just been such a steady incline that it's really hard to say. So once I graduated from school, which was the summer of 2017, that's when our good friend Bruce Brown went. He graduated from high school.
Okay.
Gregory was a big part in helping him,
Yes.
select his high school, his prep school, and then his college. And so once he graduated from there, he went to University of Miami. And because we were close with them, we went down to see his first game.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And so just because I'm me, I took all of my equipment, right? Because that's just how my carry-on is my equipment.
Yeah.
Like, I don't care about like makeup, clothes. Like, just bring my camera.
You ready to work?
That's just me. But I had no intentions. I just brought it, And so Gregory was like, "Hey, why don't you just see if you can
get on the floor?"
Like, yeah, okay, yeah, just see. Like, how do you do that? What are you talking about?
Yeah.
Like, who do I talk? I don't know what I'm doing.
Yeah.
What do you just see?
Yeah.
And so we're sitting there literally watching the game, and I'm sitting in the chair with my camera taking pictures from where we're sitting. Good seats. Gregory's like, "I'm coming. I'll be right back." This dude, 5 minutes later, comes back with a media pass.
What?
He's like, "Here you go. Go on the baseline."
Yeah.
Like, what? It's like, yeah.
G is something else. Man.
He's something else. And so that was my first like NCAA game.
Wow.
And so I was able to sit on the baseline with my nephew Bruce playing.
Yes. Shout out to Bruce.
Shout out to Brucey. Playing his first game, and that was my first few captures. And they were not great. They were good. They were good.
Yeah.
But just the experience alone was
great.
It's amazing. So I went from that, and then we came home, of course, and I had a little bit of a portfolio, but through another connection of Gregory,
yes,
was able to get credentials to cover BC.
A basketball game.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. And so my first BC game was against Duke.
She said earlier, we don't rock with Duke.
But that was a big game. My first game was BC against Duke.
Wow.
And
did BC pull it out? No.
BC pulled it out.
Okay.
Here's the story behind that. BC pulled it out. So here I am, a novice, right, sitting on the baseline. Everybody's here because it's Duke, right? This is like big time.
Yeah.
So there's blue all in the audience, but of course BC's coming out because it's Duke. So you want your home team to beat them. Everybody wants to beat Duke.
Yeah.
Sitting on the baseline, just living in my glory, just taking pictures and looking around like, oh, this is great. This is great. So BC is up by like 4 points, right? There's like 11 seconds left in the game. You just start seeing these guys coming out with yellow security jackets, right? And tape, walking along the baseline of the court, right? And so I'm like, what's happening? And so all of a sudden, the camera guys, I'm still mad at them to this day. The camera guys like, they start packing up, closing their bags up, getting up, walking away. And I'm still sitting there like, what's going on? What's going on?
Yeah.
They're about to storm the court. The BC is about to win, and all of the students are about to storm the court.
And nobody informed you.
Nobody said a thing. I'm still sitting there. And I'm like, and then it starts like the crowd starts
going crazy.
And the things are rocking like this. The guys holding the security tapes going like this. And then you can kind of feel, you can feel people like coming up. I was like, they're about to storm this court. So I'm like, oh my God, like I'm
trying to
my stuff's all over the place.
Yeah. You done got comfortable.
I was chilling. And so I got up finally, and I got like kind of behind the media, and I was able to capture BC storming the court after beating Duke.
Wow.
That was my first like official game. And then it just kind of, it just kind of increased. It just kind of slowly increased from there. So I was able to get as many BC games as I wanted just because they gave me the annual credential. So whatever game I wanted to cover, I could just come in and tell them my name, and they would give me a credential for that game. Yeah, so that was cool. Yeah, that doesn't happen. My whole life is a whole bunch of that doesn't happen.
Yeah,
like literally,
it's a whole bunch of taking risks, taking chances, and just
you're working. And the other thing is just being ready for the opportunities. Like what you don't want to happen is that you're just kind of twiddling your thumbs, hoping, and you haven't prepared yourself.
Yes,
because once you get there, if you can't do the work,
then
it's a one and done kind of situation, right? But if you do the work and you do a good job, then you'll get the next one, and the next one. And so it's preparation too. It's preparation meeting opportunity.
Yes.
So that's, and so it's just been steady from there and just constantly increasing over the years. So there was never like this big break. It's just a slow crawl.
What event or job was you booked for that made you say, okay, I made it? Was it the BC?
Probably. Well, All-Star?
You did All-Star weekend?
I did the finals too.
Wow.
Yeah, I think this past year I can say I made it.
Yes, definitely. If you did All-Star and the finals?
Yes.
How was that experience? Well,
crazy.
All-Star first.
All-Star was cool. All-Star was cool. It was so All-Star, of course, all of the main players are coming out to one place, right? So everybody is there. And I'm talking about media side. So everybody from every country is there.
Yeah.
And so there's abundance of photographers. So in those instances, I was hired, but I had specific responsibilities, which I was fine with. So my responsibility was now that the All-Star has a component for HBCU schools. And so HBCU school every year, 2 schools will play on the same court.
Yeah.
And so this year, my responsibility was covering those 2 teams. Howard and I think Morgan State was the second team.
It's okay. It's okay. It's okay.
I don't even know who that is. Sorry. Yeah, so I covered Howard and Morgan State. So I covered their practice, I covered their welcome, and then I covered their game, and then, their activity after. So I had specific responsibilities.
Yes.
And then every now and then when I didn't have a specific assignment, I was creeping, doing different stuff, taking pictures of different things. So it was really cool. It was.
That's what's up.
It was about a 15-hour day every day,
Ooh. But I mean, you doing what you love, so
it was great. It was great.
Yeah,
I loved it. I loved every single second of it.
What about the finals?
The finals was amazing.
And did you go to San Francisco too?
No, I just covered Celtics side.
Okay.
So I covered games. I covered 3 games. So I think it was 3, 4, and 6 or something like that.
Okay.
But I covered the last one.
The game 7.
The game 7. So I remember that point where Steph was like, ring me after making that shot.
You got that.
I got that shot.
Oh my God. Do you got the when he laid his head?
No, I didn't get that one.
Said he was putting us to sleep.
I think that shot because it was such a grind for the Warriors against it was a hard battle. You could tell.
Yeah.
And like he was, if you could be, it's different when you're in the environment. So you can kind of sense emotion, like stress levels, all of that. Like he was just giving every inch of what he had. You know what I mean? Like he was in it, and you could tell it was a mental thing. It was a physical thing. And so when he hit that shot towards the end of the game and turned to the crowd, like you could see it in his face and said, ring me. Like I got all of that emotion.
And he knows he's getting that MVP, so.
MVP, but he's getting a ring.
Yeah. But that was the only thing that was missing is MVP because he got now 4, Yeah. Steph's amazing.
Yeah, he is.
Steph's everything I wanted to be. I'm so serious. Like everything I wanted to be.
I think that would be where I said I kind of reached that kind of plateau.
Where you was like, okay.
Yeah, I still got some more I can do for sure. But
did you do the whole look around thing?
I did that a lot.
Really?
I did that a lot. Yeah, I did that a lot. I have another great shot that I'm probably going to. I think I posted it on my IG where Steph found his wife in the midst of all the cameras, and crowd, and he hugged her and he just gave her this big kiss, and so it was like they were the only ones in that moment. Yeah. And so the way I captured it, even the NBA who edits my work, they don't even have it because they didn't see it. Wow. So that's literally just mine.
No, I think I've seen that on your page.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty dope.
That shot is crazy.
So what's your favorite event to do? Like, have you done weddings before?
I hate weddings.
Really? Yo, before I came into this interview, I was like, okay, she might say she loves weddings. She might not really pick the sports events, but
no, give me basketball any day of the week.
Wow.
I do not. only reason I do weddings at this point, and this is like a public broadcast, but I'm okay with it. Is if it's somebody that I know who told me I don't have a choice. Like,
okay.
Like you're doing my wedding, I don't care what you say.
Family, basically, or a close friend.
Close friends, yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, I'll cover that, but I don't weddings are not my thing. It's a different level of creativeness. It's a different level of stress. It's and you're dealing with a lot of different type of people. Yeah. And all of those things together is a very long day. Yeah. And most weddings, when you're hired to cover, you're covering at least a 9-10 hour. Yeah, you're there till everybody's leaving until midnight. You know, and so it's not my favorite thing to do.
And then having to go through those pictures and edit.
Yeah,
them
it doesn't. The work doesn't stop once the wedding is over. I'm literally editing a wedding right now.
Wow.
You know, that I did in August.
Really?
Yes.
Jeez.
Yes. So yeah. So no wedding. So basketball and portraits. Okay. Family portraits, high school seniors. You know, first year 1-year-olds. Like. Those are my sweet spots. Okay. You know, and I'll do basketball. Like Gregory had took me off of a lot of events this summer because I wasn't getting paid for them. It's like, you got to stop. Like you're doing too much. Yeah. You know, and you're not even getting money for this. You have to say no to somebody. You know, like that's the kind of summer I had. Yep. Where I had to turn down a lot of work because
they're not trying to.
Yeah, they're not putting money aside for a photographer. They love the work. They love what I do. But not enough to think about
paying. Yeah, which is crazy.
You know. But no love lost. I still love it. Yeah. You know, but I just can't do everything anymore. My schedule is just really, really cramped. Yeah.
So, what's the best type of lens to use for photography?
It depends on what you're doing. Okay. My favorite lens all around is the 70 to 200. Okay. I can use that for basketball, of course, but I could also use that for portraits. Okay. You know, I tend to use it for portraits just because of the way the picture. I won't get too techie, but it does different things when it's a longer lens. Yeah. And so my favorite is the 70 to 200. Second would be the 24-70 millimeter. And that's because you can take that to an event and you can get close enough and far enough to get everything that you need. Usually if it's an event, there's more than one person that you're dealing with. Yeah. And so you kind of need that wide range to capture everyone. And so if you can get it down to 24, it gives you a wider shot. Yeah. But if somebody's a little further off that you want to focus on, you can zoom in and just get that person. Okay. You know, so those are the two.
And the one you used today was the...
So in here, I used the 24-70. Okay. And when we went outside, I used the 70 to 200.
Okay. So what? And I'm messing up. In your opinion, what's the best camera to use for photography?
Come on, that's just not a fair question.
Really?
So it's like so if you ask a Apple person, what's the best phone? Yeah. If you ask an Android person, what's the best phone?
That's true.
You know, so I'm a Nikon girl. I love Nikon because that's what my wedding photographer used for my wedding, and I just decided I wanted to go Nikon. Yeah. That was it. It wasn't like, let me test this one against this one. My wedding photographer used Nikon. I loved my pictures, and so I said my first camera.
And you don't
Nikon.
think twice about anything that might come out that looks...
I don't care.
Okay.
Like, that's why I'm saying, when you know your equipment, you're going to get the best out of your equipment. If you put my picture against a Canon picture, you're only going to know the difference in quality if somebody didn't do something right. You know what I'm saying? Okay, you can get the same picture. The only thing that the Nikon has over Canon is the ISO feature. Like our ISO, the system for Nikon is just a little bit better than the Canon. Like it can take more than the Canon can take. Yeah. That's it.
I believe you.
You know.
Okay.
So I wouldn't say this one or that one. I would just say you
whichever one you prefer.
What do you prefer and what works best for you? Yeah. They do the same stuff.
Like your teacher did say, read that manual.
Just read the manual. You're gonna get the best out of it.
Yes.
Doesn't matter.
Okay. So what's one thing you know now that you wish you knew at the beginning of photography?
As far as what? Like as far as business or as far as workflow?
Yeah. Let's say buying equipment. Like did you buy something that you didn't need, or
my husband wouldn't let me.
Oh, okay. So,
because I was of that mindset back then, I was of that mindset. Oh, if I had something better, you know, I could do a better job. But you know, this stuff is expensive.
It really is.
This is expensive, and so you don't just buy stuff just because you think it's going. You work with what you have to the best of its ability, and when you've used it to its extent, then you can say it's not doing what I needed to do. But at the beginning phases, it's going to do what you needed to do until you reach the next level. When you reach the next level, then you probably should increase your equipment. Yeah. So, no, I wouldn't say that. I would say being organized, if you're really looking to do it as a business, organization is key. Just making sure everything, you know where everything is and how to get to it from beginning to end.
And do you do folders by year? Like, okay,
I do a year. I do a year. So I use Lightroom. And Lightroom is a catalog where you can categorize everything. You can create a folder for the year, and then that folder can break down into basketball portraits, whatever it is. And so each year down to, I started in 2015, like cataloging my stuff. And so each year is broken down in my Lightroom catalog by year, and then by whatever the segment is. If it's portraits, if it's basketball, wedding, whatever it is.
Yep.
Yeah. So organization is key.
Yes, it is.
It's very key.
Yes.
And then I guess the other thing is just understanding the process, understanding your process.
Yes.
Like, I wish I had the kind of patience that I have now back then. Because I was doing a whole bunch of kicking and screaming back then, throwing tantrums because it wasn't working how I wanted it to work.
Okay.
So just having patience, but just don't quit.
Yes.
That's the biggest thing. Just don't quit.
So did anyone's work influence you?
So yes, my biggest influence was actually a guy named Pete Sousa.
Okay, shout out to Pete Sousa.
That's Obama's photographer.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
He was his photographer prior to him becoming president. And he was like he wasn't really a portrait photographer. He was more of a moments. Like, that's my tagline.
Capturing moments.
That's my tagline. Like, I don't take pictures, I capture moments. And that's what you'll see in a lot of my work. Even when you see yours.
Yes.
A lot of stuff I was doing with you, I was kind of messing with you in between. Those in between shots are going to be the best shots because I was capturing moments.
Yes.
I was capturing you in between the kind of awkwardness that you were feeling behind the camera. Those will be the better shots. And so Pete Sousa was that kind of guy. Like, he wasn't really looking for people to smile at the camera. He was just capturing moments. And so that was who kind of inspired me through the journey. Still does.
That's beautiful.
Yeah.
Beautiful. So, what's the hardest part about being a photographer?
I think the hardest part about being a photographer or any small business is that you're a small business. And so it's getting the support.
Yep.
And I'm not just talking about community type support. I'm just talking in general because you're smaller than the average.
Yes.
It's hard for people to trust you, and to get the work.
Yeah.
And so it makes the grind a little bit more difficult in those early stages because people just don't know you well enough to trust you, to pay you the money that you know you deserve.
Yeah.
And so it's just being a small business and having people actually trust you enough to take that chance on you, which is why I take a chance on everybody. Like, whatever your business is, whatever your niche is, whatever you like, I'm going to help you however I can to be that person that supports. That's whatever great. It is.
Yes.
And you'll see that, like, just whatever it is, like, I'm there. I'm going to support you. If it's just $20 you need to purchase a keychain because that's your new business, I'm going to buy that keychain.
Yeah.
Because I want to support you and let you know that.
Same here.
Just keep pushing.
Yes.
So I'm big on supporting small businesses, and I just wish more people were like that.
Yeah. Yeah. Me too. We got to support our own. So what would you say is the best part?
Just doing what I love. Like, I don't. I'm not knocking 9 to 5s. Like, people need to work. And you need to make money. But I wake up in the morning. I set my own schedule. I'm able to take jobs and decline jobs.
Yes.
Now, like before, I had to take everything. But I'm at a place now where I can actually say no to work.
That's great. That's great.
Amazing.
Yes.
Because I'm in control of my own time. So if my daughter has a volleyball game at 3:00 in the afternoon,
you can go.
I can go and I can take pictures.
Yep.
So it's just having that ability to, which is something I think your words are really powerful. Because I said before I even got married that I didn't want to be the kind of wife that had to work. You know? Well, I shouldn't say it like that, but I wanted to have time for my kids.
Yes.
And I said that way before I knew I was going to have kids. And so now I have a schedule where my family can come first, and I can decide what that order is going to be. So the freedom of doing what you love is not just doing what you love, but it's being in control of your time, and knowing and understanding your worth, and, accepting and declining based on what is okay for you, which is just a different level. Oh, I encourage it for everyone. Pursue your purpose.
Yes, always. So you talked about it a little bit. My next question was, how is it balancing being a mom and being a professional photographer?
Oh, there's no balance.
Because you set your own schedule, right?
There's no balance here. We just figuring it out as we go. My kids are really good because there are a lot of jobs that happen on the weekend just because that's the way people's schedules are set up. But they know and they understand. I think as they get older, they'll recognize what I was doing and why I was doing it. But the balance is still a work in progress. I got to be honest. Okay. You know, I got that. I got a husband. You know, I got a home that needs to be maintained. Yep. People got to eat. Yeah. You know, healthy would be great. And so it's still a work in progress. I don't have the magic formula. If somebody has it, they should bottle it and sell it.
Yes. It'll make a killing.
They will make a killing because I'm still trying to figure it out. And it's not easy. I'm not even going to front and say that I got this whole thing figured out. I don't. But I do talk to my kids regularly and let them understand what I'm doing and why I'm doing it and the importance of doing what you love. And so my hope is that they see that and they make that, you know, they understand that enough to say, okay, I can do that too.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so my last question for you for today is what advice could you give to another professional photographer that's just starting out?
I would say to find someone who's doing what you want to do, and see how they do it. You know, follow their work, what it is that you like about their work. Try to mimic that. You don't have to copy it, but if they're doing something that you love, then there's something that you're drawn to. So just continue to look at that person and find a mentor. You know, find somebody that is doing it. There's a lot of people that I don't even know that I mentor. They just found me on IG and they just ask me questions, and I don't hoard information. If I can help you, then I want to help.
Spread knowledge.
Yeah, so it's important to find somebody that's doing it a little bit. I don't want to say better, but they're at a higher level than where you are. Talk to them and see if they could kind of be that person where you can kind of get information from and ask questions and can help you. Yeah. So find somebody whose work that you love that you can actually follow and use it to kind of see where you are. But also find somebody that you can talk to about different things, you know, whether it's camera stuff or just life stuff, you know, based on what you're trying to do.
Yeah. Okay, well, Annette, thank you for letting me come interview you.
Thank you for coming.
You know, this was a great interview. I enjoyed it. I learned a lot.
I told you I was long-winded.
Yes. Hope y'all enjoyed.
Good luck cutting that up.
Yes. Yes, and we out of here. Make sure y'all like, comment, subscribe. See y'all next episode. Peace.